Hello there and good morning. So the US is putting America first. Are you really surprised? As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications. Now, politicians outside the US are saying that Biden is following the Trump America First doctrine, as if it's something new. America First was used by the US Presidents Woodrow Wilson, Warren G. Harding and Donald Trump, and now it's just being executed by Joe Biden during this Afghanistan episode. Here's what Theresa May's old Chief of Staff, Gavin Barwell, said. The US will remain a key ally where its vital interests are involved, but neither Democrats nor Republicans any longer believe the US should be the world's policeman. So nothing's actually fundamentally changed then, because here's what Henry Kissinger, Secretary of State and National Security Advisor to Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford, said. America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interests. But Barwell is right when he says we must wake up and smell the coffee. However, methinks his view is that we in Europe should be getting together EU style to replace the US. And right on cue, we now have politicians like Norbert Röttgen, the chairman of the German Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, saying, German foreign policy must reorient completely after this disaster. We must learn lessons with regard to the USA. It hurts that Biden, of all people, is the executor of Trump's ugly Afghanistan policy. Europe must finally become more independent. And countries like Germany have not even been stumping up 2% of their GDP to fund their own defence forces as required of NATO member states. Now they seem to be learning the lesson that defence is a sovereign nation duty for the protection of its people. But will they also learn to fund their own defence, instead of expecting someone else to put their blood and treasure into it? Even the UK, with its 2.29% defence spend, doesn't even have an army anymore. According to Bob Stewart, Colonel Bob Stewart, who is now a Tory MP, the definition of an army is one that's 100,000 strong. Ours is 75,000 and shrinking to the delight of those that both within and without our country wish to destroy us, or else for us to piss our hard-earned up the wall on woke projects around the planet. And our Royal Navy has been reduced to less than a couple of dozen ships, with the RAF in no better shape. When the Berlin Wall fell, our politicians jumped on it as a chance to cut the defence spend and declared to the world that we now have a peace dividend. But it was a dividend not based on peace, but on the folly of believing there would never be another large-scale war because the US would always be there as our deterrent, ready to fight our fights for us and pay for it. No, our politicians talk expansively about soft power, like the soft power that stopped the Taliban. Not. Now they're panicking, looking on as the US shrinks back and China expands into the void, because that huge US economy that spends 3 to 4% of GDP on defence has just abandoned us. As it's not in US interest to even keep us informed, let alone help us. That's right, it's emerging that Joe Biden hasn't spoken to another foreign leader for days. Something that undermines NATO. Biden's handlers have probably hidden his phone in case he lets the dementia cat out of the bag. Let's also hope they're preventing him from playing alphabet soup with the nuclear codes, or maybe a solo session of Scrabble. And there will of course be calls for the UK to throw all its defence, intelligence and security in with the EU and let them run it all. Our politicians and civil servants have always taken the view that it's easier to outsource most things for a bit of money and a quiet life. The EU is currently fighting amongst itself like a ferrets in a sack though, and each of those states has its own interests too. We can no longer trust the US. Well, we never really could. So how come some people think we can trust the European Union? We can't. We must stop spending on guff like HS2 and ratchet up our defence spend now, before we learn the lessons the real hard way. And as the Roman general Vegetius said, si vis pacem parabellum, if you want peace, prepare for war. So what's your opinion on UK defence and foreign policy moving forward? Please like and comment below.